This is one titled Rooted, I Know Who I Am by Ronke Adeniyi. That's the parenting expert that we'll be chatting to this morning. We're speaking about being rooted in our cultures as African people. And there's been a huge growing concern that the generations that are existing now and those that are coming will have forgotten their cultural roots.
Hey, I wanted to add some lyrics there. I know who I am.
I
know who I am.
I'm sorry. Let's leave the music to the musicians, please. In light of this, Nigerian parenting expert Ronke Adeniyi has organized the Rooted Conference, which will take place next week in Lagos, Nigeria. The event will be bringing together educators, parents, cultural leaders, and community members to explore the importance of cultural identity in today's world, particularly amongst younger generations. Ronke joins us on the line. What an incredible song. I mean, we haven't even listened to a minute of it, but it's vibey. It's definitely vibey. How are you doing, Ronke?
Very well. Good morning. Thanks for inviting me.
Ronke, are you sure you don't want me to add my rap on that song, man? I can add something, man.
I will love it. I will totally love it. I can't wait.
Well, we are going to listen to the full song a little bit later on, but first let's come into why the song even exists. We're speaking about cultural identity. Explain to us what the need is that you saw in the Nigerian communities that needed you to bring up this Rooted conference.
Okay, thank you. So in recent times, I've noticed that as our children go abroad and our children are suffering from identity crisis issues, they're suffering with self-esteem issues, they're struggling with a sense of belonging. So we've had this thing what we call Japa in Nigeria. And Japa really means when people leave the country and relocate, and it's been masses in countries around Africa. When our children travel abroad, we begin to see simple little things like the girls not wanting to wear their own hair. The children that are in South Africa, that are abroad, don't identify with those that have joined them. They feel they are superior to them. We found that our children feel the need to bleach their skin. They feel the need to speak with an accent. They do not know what it is that they should be proud of because they do not know enough of their history. In Nigeria, for example, history is not being taught in many schools. It's been removed from the curriculum. And even when it's being taught, it's been watered down and it's not enough to keep our children rooted. So you find that they're very submissive. The confidence is not there as African children. And we cannot allow this to continue to happen because we're telling our children that they are enough, they are good enough, all are just the way that they are.
Yeah.
I am black and I am proud. So it's nothing to do with racism or anything like that. It's just for you to know that you are enough just the way that you are.
Ronke, is it really that bad though? Is it bad that young people are losing their traditional cultural identities? I mean, they say they live in a global world now, and for them, being global is more important than being traditional. Is that really a big problem?
It is a problem because you have to have a sense of identity. Yes, you have to be global, but you have to know your roots. You have to know where you come from. You have to know this, what your forefathers have done in the past. You would always be a black person. You would always be a black person, irrespective of where it is that you go. You need that roots, you need that heritage, you need to understand all those things. You can go anywhere in the world. I lived in the UK for 20 years, 2 decades, but I'm still calling myself Ronke. I still use my own name. I don't call myself Ronnie. I don't call myself any other thing.
Yeah.
My name is who I am. Our name carries meaning. Our names have roots. You can hardly call any African name that doesn't have a deep meaning. The way that we do things, our way of life, very, very important. You find that the Japanese are very consistent. You find that the Chinese are very, very consistent in everything that they do. Anywhere they go around the world, they're still dressing the same way.
Yeah.
They're still speaking the same way.
Sure.
But you find that when it comes to the Africans, they have the accent they use in America, the accent they use in Japan, the accent they use all around the world. There's no consistency to the things that we do. And that's because we don't know who we are. We don't know what to be. So we keep floating around. But if we're rooted, we'll be consistent in the way that we approach our lives.
All right, Ronke, we're going to see if we can sort out that line. We've been hearing you. I just want us to get a clearer line on that one. We're speaking to Ronke Adeniyi, parenting expert and convener of the Rooted movement, describing the Rooted conference, which is all about getting our youngsters, our children really involved in their cultures, being affirmed, but also really carrying it through in their lives. We'll continue after this break.
Es-tu préoccupé par quelque chose? Es-tu passionné par les questions qui comptent? As-tu une voix qui mérite d'être entendue? Eh bien, nous avons la plateforme parfaite pour toi. Téléphone-nous ou fais-nous un WhatsApp au +27 66 408 87 42 et nous te rappellerons. Sois dans la conversation.
Salut Channel Africa, ici Beno le diamant rouge et Binal Sport depuis le Cameroun, le pays des lions. Voilà.
Sois dans la conversation. Il ne s'agit pas seulement de parler, mais c'est ta chance d'exprimer ton point de vue, de partager tes opinions et de t'engager avec une communauté qui valorise ton avis. Suivez-nous sur les réseaux sociaux, visitez notre site www.channelafrica.co.za et préparez-vous à partager vos points de vue sur Channel Africa, la perspective africaine. Parlez-vous couramment le français? Êtes-vous passionné par la radio? Et êtes-vous qualifié pour travailler en Afrique du Sud? Envoyez-nous votre CV et vos 3 minutes démo en MP3 à @channelafrica.co.za pour avoir une chance de rejoindre la famille Channel Africa. Si vous n'avez pas de réponse après 14 jours, cela signifie que vous n'avez pas été retenu. Channel Africa, la perspective africaine.
In this episode of Channel Africa Conversations, Peter talks to Dr. Tulisile Buddha, an academic, author, and an expert in indigenous knowledge systems. Join us for a compelling discussion on preserving African languages and traditions in the digital era. Dr. Tulisile unpacks the role of educators, explorers, and how technologies like AI can support cultural preservation, and challenges us to rethink how we honor African heritage. You can find the episode on YouTube, SABC Plus, and on our website, channelafrica.co.za. This episode is a must-listen for educators, creators, and change makers across the continent. Channel Africa, the African perspective. 9 to 12 midday, Central African Time. On the move with Palesa and Benjamin Moshatama.
Hey, it is a very difficult thing in today's society where we live in blended families. At times our cultures are not really centralized in our communities. How do we make sure that we carry the true African cultures to our children? That's the big question that we're asking in our final hour. Ronke Adeniyi is a parenting expert and a convener of the Rooted movement, which takes place in Lagos next week. And what they want to do is actually connect children with their cultural roots. Let's talk more, because you started it on a very powerful way, using those examples of certain cultures that always keep their religions and cultures very, very close. Ronke, where do you think we're getting things wrong in how we are translating our culture, but also how we are giving it to the next generation?
Okay, so we're getting it wrong in our minds. Our minds are still being colonized in many ways. And that's the reason why we are getting it wrong in many ways. We're very intelligent. When we go around the world, you find that Africans are doing so many things in other countries. But when it comes to our own country, we feel the need that until we import foreigners, we can't get things done. We find that even in the schools, a selling point is having a foreign head of school, a foreign principal, a foreign head teacher. We think it's a selling point, and we chase different curriculum. I've not heard of something called the African curriculum. We keep chasing. However, we are able to do these things for ourselves. We don't know the things to be proud of. And that is the reason why, until we set ourselves free in our minds and say that we are okay, we are enough. We see our young girls even stealing wigs, sleeping around to have wigs. They don't know that it is beautiful to have the afro hair. It is beautiful to have your braids. It is beautiful to be African. So they're constantly trying to be someone else in every sphere of life. In the homes, many African children have not seen the natural hair of their mother. They don't know what it is that it looks like. If they do, they see it inside the homes. They do not see it outside, because when the mom is going out, she's wearing a wig. We see it with many of our men. They feel the need that they must go out with ladies that are fair. So the issues are issues of the mind. And that is why we're having this conference, so that we can begin to set people free in their minds and begin to get the change that we need Otherwise, the history of Africa will be seen and heard about in countries like China.
Well, you're bringing together all these community members, the educators, the parents, the children themselves, and cultural leaders to explore the importance of cultural identity. Tell us a little bit more about what will be taking place at the Rooted Conference.
So at the Rooted Conference, we're going to have panel sessions. We're going to have a keynote speaker by people that are truly Afrocentric, people that live that lifestyle, people that just moving around them, you can see that everything about them is Afrocentric. There's pride in it. And these people have also done things successfully around the world. So we're going to have those. We're going to have music, dance, fashion parade, Afrobeat song. That song, for example, the Rooted song, I Know Who I Am, is going to be there. We're going to have dancers that are going to come there to connect with the children. There's going to be arts, there's going to be activities, there's going to be games. That every sector, whether you're a child or an adult or a teacher, or we're going to even talk about the curriculum. So there's nothing that's not going to be covered in very fun ways. So people are not going to be tired and bored of just sitting down and listening from 10 to 2 p.m. that we're having it. And everybody will be catered for, and it's going to be a truly impactful and educational and transformational experience on Saturday, the 23rd of August.
How do you bridge the relationship between the parent and the child in the same space? Because you're not only communicating to the parents, you're also communicating to the children.
Yes, and that's why we have different activities to cater to different people. So we're going to have some games, we're going to have some dance. So everybody's going to be catered for in their own sector. So if you're a child, we're going to have fun activities. There will be times when we will merge together. Say, for example, at the panel session, we will do that one together. The dance, we will do that. The fashion parade, we're going to be moving around. We're not going to sit down. And it's not a lecture. That's it. It's not a lecture. It's a day full of activities, a day full of dance. Culture, African culture, you know what we are like. We're just full of color, full of life, full of energy. And that's what's going to be in the room on that day.
You know, Ronke, there is another dynamic that we have to explore. And one of the reasons why younger people have moved away from their cultures is because they find some elements of culture quite problematic. Some of them quite patriarchal, some of them with undertones of, anti-feminism in culture. And many young people say, I'm not going to participate in that. And I'd rather not know my culture. Will there be space for open dialogue at the Rooted Conference for those kinds of viewpoints?
Absolutely, and that's why we have the panel sessions, and we have people that are going to be there to answer the questions deeply. I'm not necessarily a youth, but there are things about culture that I myself do not agree, and there are some things in culture that they have to fade with knowledge, with enlightenment. Say, for example, in Nigeria, there's a culture that when Igbo women, when they lose their husbands, they shave them from the top to the bottom. There's this process that they go through that affects their mental health. It's really dehumanizing. Now, if something is dehumanizing, we can't promote that. We know better now. The people that did it out of their own abundance. So we can't promote those sort of things. We can't promote men abusing women and getting away with it. No, we know better than that. But those things that are beautiful, that makes us Africans, that make our culture strong and potent, yes, we should preserve it. They are worth preserving.
I love that. Well, tell us about where people can come and join the Rooted Conference, when it's taking place, and how they can be a part of this great conference.
Okay, so it's in Park View Estate, Guiding Light Assembly in Lagos. And I know that we are speaking to mainly a South African audience. So it's going to be streamed on YouTube. So you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is at Ronke Posh. You can subscribe there, and we're going to stream it for people to be able to watch all around the world.
Well, thank you so much, Ronke. It was a pleasure speaking to you. You do sound quite passionate about this, and I think it is important to hear your passion of culture, the passion of bringing us back to also move forward, and for young people to really understand the importance and significance of some of those cultural values.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I am passionate about it.
Well, that is Ronke Adeniyi, parenting expert and convener of the Rooted movement. Alongside this particular conference is the song. We heard a little bit of it a little bit earlier on. So let's hear that again. This one is by Ronke, and it's an Afrobeat song titled Rooted. I know who I am.
I shouldn't rap, Pali.
Without Benjamin's rap.
Thank you so much.
28 minutes past 11 o'clock Central African time. That's the theme song of Rooted. That's the conference that will be taking place in Nigeria next week. If you find yourself there and you're a parent and you feel like, you know what, I need to get culturally equipped, then you can do that with your little ones. That was Ronke Adeniyi, parenting expert and convener of the Rooted movement.